Okay. This is being recorded. We'll see how good it records. But just
Okay.
go ahead. A guy named Jim Greer, you said?
Ernest Greer.
Ernest Greer.
So in 2006, I left Kilpatrick to go to Greenberg to work with a guy who was building a patent litigation intellectual property practice in Greenberg. It was a great situation because I was going there to try cases. So I was going to be his partner's right-hand guy. We were going to try cases together. It's like what I wanted. A small group, we're going to build something together. That's October 2006. By May 2007, he had left the firm, and the whole IP department at Greenberg, Atlanta, had disappeared.
Wow.
I was a 6th or 7th year. So
Wow.
you could imagine, 6th, 7th year, I just had a big trial. My career was in front of me. I thought I was going to become a trial lawyer. And within 7, 8 months, the whole department's gone. He's gone. He went to another firm, took a junior associate with him. Couldn't take me because where he went to, they didn't have the budget for me.
Right.
And I didn't want to go there.
Got it.
So I find myself as a 7th year lawyer
Wow.
working in the commercial litigation group at Greenberg Traurig in Atlanta.
Son of a gun.
After I've been a patent litigation associate for years. The best thing that ever happened to me. So at a moment where most people would say, your career's over, you're finished, you're done. You're a Kilpatrick, you're done. Ends up being the best thing that happened because I end up working for the guy named Ernest Greer, who had just become the managing partner of the Atlanta office of Greenberg.
No kidding.
And he was a guy he was a black guy, and he had millions of dollars of business. He was
Wow.
about 40 years old, 41, and he gave me the game. He taught me how, and now his style is not my style, but it was the first time I'd ever met someone who looked like me, who was extremely successful, had built it himself, and was doing the work, getting the work, and managing the work all at the same time.
Wow.
And he basically, I spent 2 years there, for 27 months, best 27 months of my life, changed my life.
Awesome.
Literally, I saw him say, look, we're going to get this client. I saw him prospect it. I saw him, saw the life cycle, the whole life cycle, how you meet someone. And he'd say, look, Walter, we're not going to get any work from that guy for a year. We're going to keep doing what we're going to keep it. Now, his game was a game of, his was a drinks game, an after-works drinks game. It would say,
okay.
I go out 5 o'clock, I buy all the drinks, I hang out late at night,
Got it.
I get in the office at 7, I leave at 5. But from 5 to 10, I'm out hanging out. I'm meeting with people, I'm taking people to drinks, I'm going to dinner. It was a huge social name. He was very much an entertainer. And that's not my style, that's not how I do it, but it was great to see it, and just to see it work, and he was the guy who taught me, Walter, you gotta ask for work. And maybe don't ask the first time. He always equated to dating. When you go out with, he's very, Ernest, he's a very smooth character.
Yeah.
So he was always like, it was always like dating. Think about what you would do in dating. Are you gonna, the first date, there's some things you do, some things you don't do, because you want a second date.
Right.
And that changed my whole life. And I met him at a time in his career when he was building something. There was another guy named Rich Valdez, who was kind of like, we were about the same year. We kind of we built this practice for him.
No kidding.
And, so he gave us opportunity to run cases and have wonderful experience. And he gave us confidence to how you can build a practice. Now, it may take a long time. You can have, his big thing, too, changed my life, was that most lawyers are transactional. But this business is relational. So you got to move from being transactional to relational. Because lawyers, everybody's transactional. Like, I do this, you do that. I buy you this. No, it's relational. Sometimes it's like in a relationship, you may give, but it's going to all equal. At the end of the day, no one's going to be behind her. He gave me that. That changed my best thing ever happened to me.
Wow.
But I saw him. We had drinks together before I left. And I told him, our relationship is complicated, but, I told him I loved him, changed my life. He gave me the game. That was those 2 years where most people say, you're finished, Walter, your life is over. I spent 2 years, best 2 years of my life. I then left Greenberg, went to work with Jeff, went to Southern with Jeff, and then skyrocket. That was 5 years ago. It was like a light switch. But I had to spend 2 years in a place where most people think, you're fucked, you're done. No.
You saw how the game was played, and you learned how it was played.
I didn't match, but I got a red belt, a blue belt, enough to, and that put me light years ahead
It certainly sounds like
And
that.
even though I hadn't done the things that I wish I had done, like building your network, and I had friends, I was social, but because I got that, I was able to kind of advance, accelerate myself, change my life, change it.
I loved what you just said. That's got to go in the book. You know, uh, a lot of people think things are transactional. No, they're relational.
Yeah,
Is that how you said it? Is that
yeah,
what you
yeah,
said?
yeah. It's relational.
That's going in the book. I hope this thing recorded that. But I can remember that part.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I got it. What I do most of my interviews are on the phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.